Going to start the recording. And the second thing what I can do is I start your class in my ERP. Just a moment. Okay, so Abdullah, what we were talking about in our last class and what we should do now. Like any specific topic. I think we have completed our organization part. Yeah, we were working on heart,
Yeah,
cardiovascular. So that's not completed yet, okay?
yeah.
Okay, let me take questions from GCSE biology. And in GCSE biology, the practice questions EQA. We were working on cardiovascular. We had so many of questions that I think we have worked on as well from its hard part of the medium. Yeah, I skipped this easy and started with you the medium question. The heart is an organ that pumps blood around the body. A patient is diagnosed with suffered from the stroke. This is what we have completed. Describe the reasons in thick artery and ventricle in your. Describe with reasons the differences in wall thickness of the artery and ventricle. Is this what we have talked about or not? I think we didn't, right? Explain the
Yeah, we
patient with
did.
irregular. Yeah, this is the first question that we have to talk about on today. It's of a 6 mark question, and in which you have to describe with reasons the differences in wall thickness of the artery and ventricle. In your answer, compare the right and left ventricles. So these are some questions from the worksheet. So here I'm pasting on your board. Hmm, it's taking time. Okay, here it is. Abdullah, so one form of cholesterol found in blood in LDL. Describe how having too high a level of LDL cholesterol in the blood could potentially lead to the heart attack. Okay, let's start. Let's start the first where you have to compare right and left ventricles. And in that case, describe with reasons the differences in the wall thickness of the artery and ventricle. Start writing so then at the end of that I will check and how we can improve our answer. Describe with reasons differences in wall thickness. What do you think? What's the difference? Are you writing the answer or you want to discuss it
I think.
before? Okay. The thickness of muscle wall. The thickness and thinness is important here. First, you should talk about like definitely, as you know, in case of ventricle, that should have the thick muscles or the thick walls. The reason is like it has to distribute that blood throughout the body of an organism.
Mm,
So
yes.
its walls should be quite strong as compared to atria. However, in case of atria, we can based on its function, like because that's why I'm saying the reasons describe with reason. So atria doesn't, I think, our atria don't need overall both of the chambers. Uh, Specific thickness of the wall. The walls of the ventricle are more of the muscle wall. What do you think? Oh yeah, more thicker as compared to the atria. And so then after you can give the reason why it is so. The reason is like it has to pump
Yeah,
blood
yeah, to
a
pump
short
the blood.
distance. Atria just need to
Yeah,
pump the blood from one chamber to the, I mean, from atrium to the ventricle. So it's not a long distance. However, ventricle that has to pump blood out of the heart and need to generate higher pressure because that has to distribute that blood throughout the body. So that's why the ventricles have thicker muscular walls as compared to atria, right? Getting Abdullah?
yeah,
Okay, great. So this is one difference. I think it's of 6 mark questions. You just need at least to put here about 6 differences. And you can also compare the left ventricle with the right ventricle. They both have the difference of thickness as well,
yes,
because
yes.
right ventricle is not responsible to distribute or to pump blood in the body. So that's the responsibility of left ventricle. So there must be a difference of their cell wall thickness as well. Good. The walls of the ventricle are more thicker than atria because atria only need to pump blood into the ventricle but have to pump the blood around the body. It should be clear enough, Abdullah. The statement is not much clearer. I don't know. The walls of the ventricle are more thicker than atria because atria only need to pump blood into ventricles, but but ventricle have to pump. You need to add but after just but you need to add into ventricle. But ventricles have to pump, or the ventricle have to pump the blood around the body. Yeah. Then now you can compare the right ventricle and the left ventricle as well, because they both have the difference as well as like in
Mm.
case of left
So
ventricle,
the left
because that's the chamber
ventricle
which is
has,
responsible for the distribution of blood. Getting?
the
Okay,
left
all right.
ventricle has more thicker walls than the right ventricle.
Even the left ventricle has a thicker wall as compared to the right one. Now we are comparing these two. Otherwise, if you are comparing with the atria, so that's the difference. Again, the ventricle, both of the ventricles have thicker, walls. But the question is, what's the function of the right ventricle? What's it's doing here? What's the function of right ventricle, Abdullah?
It's transporting blood, has to pump the blood into the body.
Hmm. No, no, no. I'm asking for right ventricle, not for the left. Left is
Oh, it
responsible
just
for
has
this.
to, we just have to pump the blood into the left ventricle.
Right is no. What are you talking about? Like, right ventricle is pumping blood to the left ventricle. No, it's not a
Mm.
thing. Just find
Oh,
out the
sorry.
difference. Hmm. No issue, no issue. Like,
Um,
I'm just, you know, the b- whatever the blood is, whether that is oxygenated or deoxygenated, that has to come into the atria first, left and right. From there, every respective atrium has to pump that blood into the ventricles. So I'm just asking the function of right ventricle.
and I
Which
think it
which
transports
which
the blood
chamber is responsible
to
for
the
to pump
lungs.
blood into the lungs?
I think it transports the blood into the lungs and the left ventricle. So the right
Hmm.
ventricle.
Yes. It's like it's the right. Ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood because the deoxygenated blood is there from the which it you would say like it received from the right atrium, right? So it has to pump
mm,
that deoxygenated blood to the lungs via pulmonary artery. Got it? This is
mm,
the function of right ventricle.
mm,
And yes, it's this it's pumping there, but that's not too much. It doesn't require, I would say, enough high blood pressure because that's a very unidirectional sort of transport. However, in case of left ventricle, its function is bit complex because it has to pump that blood out of the heart and throughout the body. That's the main challenge for the left ventricle. So that's why its wall must be even more thicker as compared to the right one. Getting, Abdul?
yes.
Okay, great. So just finish the answer here. Hmm. Still, you need to add more points here. Now you have to brainstorm from your side because then after I will help you, okay? Otherwise, if I'll spoon feeding,
Mm.
so it's not a good thing. Somewhere you'll miss the points. I have to download this from my site. Educus Biology.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Done.
Yeah.
Just count the points like you have added 6 points because in order to get six marks, you must add 6 points at least. Or if any other point that is in your mind, so you can add. You can discuss with me, and then after you can add there.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Mm,
Okay. The walls of the ventricle are more thicker than atria because atria only need to pump the blood into the ventricles, but ventricles have to pump the blood around the body. Yeah. Left ventricle have more thicker muscular wall because it has to pump the blood around the body. However, the right ventricle only have to pump, but you need to tell less thickness. Somewhere you have to mention in case of right ventricle as compared to because now you're comparing it with the thick with the left ventricle. I can't find any specific word which can show like right ventricle's thickness is less as compared to the right one. Oh, sorry, the left one. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. The thicker wall in the left ventricle allows for stronger contraction to overcome the higher resistance in the systemic arteries. These differences in thickness help ensure efficient circulation and prevent damage to delicate capillaries in the lungs. Yeah, this is also one thing you can add here. What's the purpose of this thickness? Definitely, it helps to ensure the efficient circulation and prevent damage to delicate capillaries in the lungs, right? You can add
okay.
one more point here. Good. Hmm.
I'm done it. I'm done
Done, Abdullah. Great.
it. Yeah.
So, Where's the answer? Where's the last point? Because it only have to pump blood into the thicker walls also prevent damage to the capillaries. One thing more add here, efficient circulation and prevent damage to the capillaries. Thicker
Okay.
walls also, thicker walls ensure efficient you can add at the start of it this point. Uh, prevent damage to the capillaries. Okay, then you need to remove this also from here. Thicker walls prevent damage to the capillaries and ensure efficient circulation. And ensure efficient circulation, right? This is how you can compensate like 6 marks. Oh, why? Let's try to make it this answer appropriate as per according to the mark scheme. Hmm. Atria have thinner walls in than ventricle. This is one point that you have to add. Atria also need to pump blood into ventricles, which is a short distance and requires low pressure. This is second point that you need to add here, as per level 1, 5 to 6 marks. Clear, detailed, and accurate explanation of the difference in walls thickness of atria versus ventricle and between the left and right ventricles. These are the important point like you need to explain. And level
Mhm.
2, some correct points with basic explanation but missing full comparison are reasons. Level 2, level 1 is limited to superficial answer. Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea. Yeah. Ventricle need to pump blood out of the heart. Yeah, that's fine. You included. Right atria versus ventricle and right ventricle versus left ventricle. These two components that you need to add, right, in order to get 6. So the left ventricle has thicker wall than the right. This is we have mentioned. The left ventricle pumps blood to the entire body, which requires high pressure. The right ventricle pumps blood to the lungs, which is a much shorter distance and requires less pressure. Thicker muscles in the left ventricle allows it to generate more forceful contraction. This is what we have discussed. And this difference prevents damage to the lung capillaries and ensure efficient systemic circulation. 3, 4, 5. We have 5 points. Do we have 5 points here for 6 marks? Just count, please. Because just to move
Okay.
forward is not the solution. Like
Mm,
we should clear like whether we are, somehow meeting the condition of the requirement of the question or not. Is for 6 marks, so at least 5 points should be. Uh,
yeah, there
atria,
are 5 points.
atria versus ventricle and right ventricle versus left ventricle. Uh,
Mm,
do we have 5 points?
yeah.
Okay, that's great. So it means like we are compensating. Then after the next question, one form of cholesterol found in the blood is LDL. Describe how having too high a level of LDL cholesterol in the blood could potentially lead to a heart attack. So how you would answer this?
Oh, first, I can
Remember,
write down the.
question is describe how having too high a level of LDL cholesterol in the blood could potentially lead to this heart attack. It's for 2 mark question, right? So you need to add 2 points.
Okay, so
Write the
I'm
answer.
writing.
Yeah, please,
I'm just
please.
writing.
Write down the answer, then we'll discuss together. Good, good, good. Hmm.
You can see the answer.
Having too high level of cholesterol can block the circulation of blood. There will be less blood going to the heart, meaning less blood pressure, meaning less supply of oxygen to the heart. Mm, 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 mm. Uh, it's fine, but need some high level of LDL cholesterol can lead to the formation of
Heart attacks.
atheroma,
Yeah.
fatty deposits in the walls of the coronary arteries. You need to mention this as well. Need to specify where the formation of atheroma or fatty deposits in the walls of the coronary arteries. Because coronary arteries are those arteries which are actually supplying blood to the heart. So there's a blockage in the coronary arteries, right? So this narrows the arteries, reducing blood flow to the heart muscle, right?
So
This is how you can
you are
modify your
saying
answer.
that
Yes.
um,
Formation of atheroma or fatty deposits in the walls of the coronary arteries, not anywhere else, in the heart. So it's reducing the blood flow to the heart muscle and can lead to the blockages. And definitely that causing the heart attack due to lack of oxygen. If the blood is not going there, so ultimately oxygen will not, heart muscles will deprive from um, oxygen. Getting?
mhm.
Ah, yeah. So this is how you can answer this question. First mention the fatty deposits are the formation of atheroma. Because of that, there is a narrowing in the arteries. Once the arteries narrow, so that would lead to the blockages. Like definitely, that reduce somehow it reduces the blood flow to the heart muscle.
Mm.
So that's causing the heart attack, right? Getting
Yes, yes.
okay. Formation of atheroma will block the coronary arteries. Yes.
So what was the other point?
Mm-hmm. Which point?
So what will be the other point? So if it blocks the
Very
artery.
simple. Abdullah, you just need to add 2 points. One is the formation of atheroma or the fatty deposits. It will narrow the arteries, coronary arteries. Once it is narrowed, so the flow of blood will be reduced. And if the flow of blood is reduced, the last point would be the oxygen deprivation to the muscle, heart muscles, and ultimately that leads to the heart attack. So the sequence is like this: formation of the atheroma, artery becomes narrow, or all of the coronary arteries become narrow and reduces the blood flow. And the last point is lead to the heart attack. And as you know, where the blood is not flowing properly, so those cells are deprived of oxygen supply. So the sequence is important in this case as well.
mm,
So then after we
mm.
can go to have some other questions with uh, okay, listing the structures EBC. So here's a question with some subsections on the worksheet. Done, Abdullah?
Yes, I'm done.
Good. So the next one is here. So what are these questions? Let me check. Listing the key structures, describe the path of air from trachea to the lung capillaries. Explain the changes that occur in the thorax chest cavity when the person breathes in. During inhalation and exhalation, intercostal muscles work as antagonistic pairs. With reference to the intercostal muscles, explain when and what antagonistic pairs are and how they work. And the last point is
Mm,
the last question is the internal intercostal muscles are predominantly active during strenuous activity. Why is this? So this is how you would
Okay.
answer.
So can I answer part B first? Because I think I'm more confident on this one. So I will answer this one first. Then we'll discuss part A.
Hmm, you're not confident what? The
In
first
the first
answer?
one, that's why. Yeah, that's why I want to do the other part
What's the
first.
question?
Listing the key structures describe the path of air from the trachea to the lungs capillary.
Listing the key structures, describe the path of air from the trachea to the lungs.
Hmm.
Okay. So it's a 3 mark question. You need to talk about three things. Bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli. So air travels from trachea into bronchi, one to each
Hmm.
lung. That's going on. If you can see the structure. So in order to get an idea about these things, so definitely you have to go through the structure of this respiratory
I
system.
haven't, yeah,
So then it
yes,
then
I
it then
didn't.
it moves into the smaller bronchioles within the lungs,
Hmm.
right? So
Yes, yes.
and just after then it finally reaches the alveoli, where oxygen
Hmm.
diffuses across the alveolar walls into the capillaries. So you need to add 3 points here. 1 mark for bronchi, 1 mark for bronchioles, and 1 mark for alveoli, right? Getting
Hmm.
Abdullah?
Yes, yes, yes.
So yes, this is how you have to answer. Just write the
So,
answer, then after
in the
I'll
part,
see how we can improve it.
okay, 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 okay.
Where are you writing your answer, Abdullah?
Now
Listing
I'm
the
thinking about the part B.
No, first you need to add the points here in case of listing the key structures. Describe the path of air from trachea to the lung capillaries.
No, no.
What are you
Actually, I
thinking?
haven't studied the first one. No, no. I haven't studied much about the lungs, like
It's
no
okay. It's
topic
okay.
about lungs.
Let me help you to write. So that's why I'm here for you,
Mm,
Abdullah.
okay,
So you can
okay,
get assistance for me in this case. So start writing. I can just help you to write.
okay.
So you would say, you would start with the first point, that is, air travels from the trachea, because the question is describe the path of air from trachea to the lungs, lung
Mm-hmm.
capillaries. So in between all of the structures which are present there that we need to discuss here, right? So air
Okay.
travels from the trachea into the bronchi. Let me show you the structure as well. Why you're confused here? Mm, let's see. So, for instance, like we have this one structure here. Mm, yes, it's better. Abdullah, look into this. It's a bit complex, but don't go in such complexity. But just think about the structure as well. Like you can just observe the structure. You can see the main trachea is here, and just from this trachea, let me show you how I can. Just a moment, Abdullah. Here it is. It's a main structure. It's a main trachea. Okay, is this visible?
Yes,
Like this one, this main structure is here, and it is going
yes,
to be
yes.
divided into two parts, like this and this. What's that called? Trachea and bronchi. These are bronchi here. This one is, I mean, the main trachea is going to be divided into two branches somewhere. One is here and the other one is here. This is trachea and these are bronchi. And the one bronchi in each lung. Getting?
Mm, yes, yes.
And then after you would have the next, that is bronchioles. The further branching inside of it, these are bronchioles, which are going to be further subdivided into form the alveoli. So the answer that you need to write here, the air travels from trachea to the bronchi, right?
Yes, yes.
Then it moves into the smaller bronchioles within the lungs. Then it moves into a smaller bronchioles within the lungs. Getting? Are you writing, Abdullah?
Yes.
Good. So the last point. Finally, it reaches the alveoli. Finally, it
What is
reaches.
the spelling? What is the
Sorry,
spelling of bronchioles?
speak loudly. Sorry.
What is the spelling of bronchioles?
Bronchioles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bronchioles.
Yes, yes.
Bronchioles.
Okay.
Bronchioles.
Mm,
Right? Bronchioles within the
mm,
lungs. Getting?
mm. Yes, okay.
So finally it reaches the alveoli where oxygen diffuses across the alveolar walls. So this is the point where diffusion occurs. The exchange of air is actually happening this point. That is alveolar wall. So diffuses across the alveolar walls into the capillaries. So air travels from the trachea into the bronchi. I have already shown you here in this diagram. One bronchus is going into one lung. So two lungs, so it means two bronchi right there. So then it moves into the smaller bronchioles within the lungs. Getting?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
And finally it reaches the alveoli. These are very small
Mm,
cluster of, you would say, alveoli. We can compare them with the grapes. the just the bunch of grapes. So which is the alveoli, where oxygen diffuses across the alveolar walls. This point is quite important. You need to add here. Are you writing this? Diffuses
Yes.
across the alveoli wall. Yes, alveolar wall or alveoli wall. Yeah, into the capillaries. Across the alveolar wall into the capillaries. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Understand.
This is what we can say. This is for 3 mark question. Trachea, bronchioles, alveoli. You need to revise this topic as well, so it would be more clear to you, right? Because right now we are just
Mm-hmm.
discussing the questions. So otherwise, it's a complete topic. So how air gets into the body and from where, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to trachea into the bronchioles, and then we always discuss at every point what is going on with air. So it's a detailed topic as well. Then after you can come to the next point, that is explain the changes that occur in the thorax chest cavity when a person breathes in. 4 mark question, you
So
need to add
okay.
4 points as
Yes,
per
I'm
mark
writing the
scheme.
answer. Okay.
1 mark is for intercostal muscles, 1 mark for diaphragm movement, and 1 mark for increase in volume, and 1 mark for decrease in pressure or air drawn in. These are 4 points that you need to add. So now you can structure this answer here in the
Mm.
just under this question. Explain the changes that occur in the thorax when a person breathes in, not out, in.
Yes, yes. Just
Start
wait,
right.
I'm writing the answer. Mm.
Hmm? Should I start? Should I help you here as well?
No, 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 I'm writing, I'm writing.
Okay, okay, please. Please, you can write. Good, Abdullah. So the air moves into the lungs, so the pressure in the lungs increases, the surface. Question is, Abdullah, is this not the question? Explain the changes that occur in the thorax, chest cavity. Let me explain to you, and then after you can write. Like, what you should consider here in this question. Abdullah,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
external intercostal muscles contract.
Mm-hmm.
External intercostal muscles contract. Because of this contraction, it lifts the
Should I
rib
write this
cage
now?
up and out. Yeah.
Should I write this now?
Yes, you can write, but you can experience it by
Okay, okay,
yourself.
yes.
L- l-
Yes, yes, yes.
let try to inhale and just observe the changes in your chest cavity. Hmm?
So
Just
it
inhale
gets,
once and just
yeah.
try to observe the changes that's
Yes.
going on in your chest cavity. So you can see once I'm
So,
inhaling some air from outside. So
mm-hmm.
I'm my intercostal muscles are contracting here, and as a result, you can see your chest cavity is it's bit raising up, like the chest cavity is lifting up like this. Can you experience this?
Yeah.
Right? So this is what you have to mention here. Like intercostal muscles are contracting here. The intercostal muscles, these are external intercostal muscles, like just on the ribs there. So intercostal muscles contract, it's lifting the rib cage up and out. So you can see like your rib cage or your diaphragm is getting up. Uh, the diaphragm contracts and flattens.
Okay.
And definitely It increases the volume of the thoracic cavity. So I means there would be a cavity inside of your chest. Its volume is getting increased, the overall volume. So as a
Mm,
result, the pressure inside of the lungs decreases. It's very simple. Like you can see, suppose you just try to inhale where you have just contracted your intercostal muscles, and your rib cage is lifting up. So it actually increases the volume inside of that cavity.
mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
not only yes, Abdullah. You're not getting. Can you just help me
Mm, I
to
understand.
understand? You
So,
just consider yourself like right now. Just
mm-hmm.
just inhale once. I'm inhaling. So because of this, you can see your rib cage is getting up. Is this?
Yes, yes.
Try it. Yes, it's a practical experience. Yeah, exactly. So so you can see like my rib cage is getting up.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So, so it's
like
also
this.
like, so
So
when
volume
the
inside is
volume,
getting increased. The volume inside
yeah.
is there. Like it was just before, for suppose before it was like this, and once you
Mm-hmm.
inhale, it's getting like this. So the space between these two points, you can see the cavity, like these two, uh,
Mm-hmm.
what I should say, like the membranes or the structures in which you have the space inside of it. So it's getting increased.
So it's
S-
kind of vacuum, yeah.
It's kind of,
Vacuum.
yes, exactly. If you know this, so you must know about it. So it's a vacuum. So it's a suction vacuum right now. Like once it is created inside, then it will suck air from outside. It is
Mm.
exactly the replica
So,
of the vacuum.
yeah. So the pressure will decrease, right? Yeah.
Hmm. The pressure inside
Mm.
decreases, so definitely the air will
Volume.
move
Yeah.
into the lungs. It
So
the
can you
pressure
please everything
where
there?
this pressure decreases. This pressure decreases in the lungs.
Yeah.
Mention this as well. So
Mm.
volume increases in the chest cavity. Pressure
Okay.
decreases in the lungs. Write the complete answer like.
Okay, I'm writing.
Hmm. In the thoracic cavity or chest cavity.
Mm. Okay. Yes, I have written this.
And last point is like you should talk about definitely as a consequence of this are all of these changes. The final you would say the activity is the pressure. I mean air to be drawn in. Air will get into the lungs as a result of all these changes, like in external intercostal muscle contraction, rib cage up, diaphragm contract, flattens, increases volume inside of the thoracic cavity, pressure
Mm.
inside lungs decreases. So as a result of all these changes, you can see that all of these changes actually cause air to be drawn in.
Mm.
Getting Abdullah?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is how you can answer. So it's a 4 mark question. Remember, so all of these points are important here. Getting? Then after you can go for the
Yes.
next point. During inhalation and exhalation, the intercostal muscles work as antagonistic pair. With
Mm-hmm.
reference to the intercostal muscles, explain what antagonistic pairs are and how they work with reference to it. Hmm.
No, I will study this one.
Should I help you here?
No, no. When I
If you,
will study, then we'll do these questions again.
these are
You
hard
can do it.
questions, a bit
Yeah.
hard because I've not hard even. These are the medium questions. Like hard portion is even just after this. Yeah, it means like
Mm.
you need to revise this topic again uh, thoroughly. So because many of the
Mm-hmm.
questions again we need to, it's possible we'll get back to these questions as well. So
Mm.
no issue. Like you should try to answer this question as well with reference to what antagonistic pairs are muscles that work in opposition, like opposite to each other. If one contracts, the other relaxes. That's the
Oh,
concept of antagonism. The mechanism of this antagonism is uh, the antagonistic pairs, because we have to define this with reference to the intercostal muscles. So pairs, antagonistic pairs are muscles that work in opposition or in opposite to each other. When one contracts, the other relaxes.
oh, okay, okay.
Getting?
Yes, yes,
So
yes, I'm
during
getting.
inhalation, you can see the external intercostal muscles contract while internal intercostal muscles relax. And exhalation is opposite to this. Internal coastal muscles contract, especially during forced inhalation, exhalation, and the external ones relaxes. So that's an opposite function here.
So, okay, so during,
I think I should show you the intercostal muscles image as well for your better understanding. So
okay,
Abdullah, you can see here this one. Look at this. These are muscles, like it's showing you on the in the ribs, like here you can see internal intercostal muscles and external one. And this small diagram is showing you even better image. External, this is the outer muscle, and that's an inner muscle which is present inside of it. So both of these muscles are antagonists to each other, both are functioning in opposite direction. If one is contracting, the other one is relaxing. So in inhalation and exhalation, they have to perform their function in opposition. So now you can
mm,
relate this with your answer.
okay, okay,
Yeah, just try to complete this, Abdullah. We have,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
three mark question here, and then one more. The internal intercostal muscles are predominantly active during the strenuous activity. Why is this? Yeah, this is also a reason-based question.
Mm,
Answer is simple. First, define the antagonist or antagonistic pairs,
okay,
and
okay.
with reference to
Mm,
the muscles that work in opposition to each other. One is contract, other is relaxes. That's it. And then after, you have to talk about what's going on in inhalation and what's in exhalation. That's it. In inhalation, the external intercostal muscles contract, internal relax. In exhalation, internal intercostal muscles contract and the external ones relax.
okay.
Done? Ah, yeah, completed. Yeah. Intercostal muscles are muscles which, no, which work opposite to each other. First complete this one. Antagonistic pairs are muscles that work in opposition to each other, or that work in opposite to each other. Yeah, opposite to each other. This is one point. And what do you mean by this opposite? You would say one contracts, the other relaxes. If one muscle
mm,
contracts, the other relaxes. This is just the explanation of this work in opposite to each other.
okay, okay.
Got it? So this is one
Yes,
point. For 1 mark that you have completed. Now you have to work for 2 marks. And one is for
okay.
inhalation and one point for exhalation. And
Mm.
refer this with intercostal muscles. What's going on in inhalation? During
So
inhalation,
in inhalation, the external muscles relax and the
in
internal muscles
yes, external
contract.
intercostal. Don't forget it. Intercostal muscle, because there are a number of muscles and they have different names based on their
Oh,
position
yeah.
and location. So we need to mention the specific type of muscles. Intercostal muscles contract
So if you go, uh-huh. Okay. Um,
while internal
okay.
intercostal muscles relax.
So,
Mm-hmm. Good. What's happened? Why you're bit smiling guy? Everything is okay? Okay. All right. All right. During inhalation, internal intercostal muscles contract, hmm, and external intercostal muscles relax.
Yes,
Got it?
yes.
All right. That's great. So,
And during
and
the
and
exhalation,
write 1 point for exhalation, and that is opposite to
yeah,
the inhalation, right?
yeah.
Yes. Good.
It's,
Hmm.
yes, I've done this one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I've done that.
Done. Next question. Last
Yes.
question. Please hurry up. Just
So,
wind up the last question. The question
okay,
is,
okay.
internal intercostal muscles are predominantly active during strenuous activity. Why is it so? Definitely, that's
What does
easy to
strenuous
understand.
mean? What does strenuous mean?
Strenuous activities, any hard activity that you're doing and doing exercise or anything that
Okay, okay. Hmm. So, mm,
in, let me explain to you
so it
first.
means it's
You know, any
in hard
physical
activities,
demanding exercise, sorry, that
it
requires.
demands more.
Hmm.
It demands more inhalation and exhalation. So that's why they're.
Yes, based on, because it demands actually a high level of effort, energy and oxygen. If you're running or sprinting or some intense weightlifting, so in all of these cases, a competitive sports, football, swimming, boxing, so in all of these cases you can see like strenuous activities that
Mm,
requires more oxygen and faster removal of carbon dioxide. This is the first demand of it. The oxygen has to be get into the body with more efficiency, and the carbon dioxide which is produced inside that should get out of the body even faster in the as compared to the normal conditions, right? So strenuous activity requires more oxygen and faster removal of carbon dioxide. Right, this point.
mm. Yes, I have done in the first point. And mm,
Yeah. And then after, you can say the internal intercostal muscles contract to force air out more quickly. So your intercostal muscles are working. Internal intercostal muscles contract to force air out more quickly, helping with forced active exhalation. Because internal intercostal muscles are responsible for exhalation. Their contraction is responsible for exhalation, right? During forced
mm,
exhalation, you would say. So the internal intercostal muscles contract to force air out more quickly. And what's its function? Its function is to help with forced active exhalation to increase the breathing rate. It's actually responsible for increasing the breathing rate, right? That's the main
yes,
logic. Getting?
yes, yes.
And increasing the breathing rate. One last point that you can add here, Abdullah. And increasing the breathing rate. Getting?
Yes, yes.
Great. So what do you think now? I think we should conclude this for today. Few more hard questions that we will discuss in our next class, and then with that, even we have to add some new topic as well. Got it? But
Mm,
please revise
yes,
all
yes.
of these things, whatever you have done up till now in this week. all of the questions, right? So, and please revise the topics from here, all the cardiovascular.
Mm,
So when we'll go on the hard questions, so it would be easy for you to tackle those, right?
yeah.
Got
Okay.
it. So that's all for today. Abdullah, take care of yourself. Bye bye. See you next week.
Okay. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Take care.